Hey everyone, so I was on Twitter not too long ago, as I frequently am. In fact, I spend far too much time on there as it is. And I came across a story posted by my friend Wicked Dolls, or Nelly Diddle as you may know her on YouTube. It concerns a site called negotiationisover.com, who are a bunch of animal rights extremists. They received a letter from someone who was an undergraduate student in Florida, who basically said that she currently tests on animals and that many people are alive today because of the advancements that animal testing has brought us. She was then assaulted with emotional abuse to the point where she pleaded with them to stop, and in the end actually denounced what she'd previously said, and added that she will now be looking for other career choices. Now I just couldn't let that shit slide. Bombarding a student who could have had a promising chance of helping cure diseases that many around the world have to suffer with, and packing it all in because of a group of troglodytes who think that these kind of tactics are acceptable. And as you can see from the link that I'll leave from Ferengula, these cowards are tactically targeting students because they are soft-bellied targets and the weakest link in the chain. And they target them like they target the poor undergraduate in Florida through fear, harassment and intimidation. They have a list of ways in which they target students in the same link, but I want to read you out number 2 as I think it's the most telling. Quote, "Students also need to understand that making the wrong choice will result in a lifetime of grief. Aspiring scientists envision curing cancer at the Mayo Clinic. We need to impart a new vision: car bombs, 24/7 security cameras, embarrassing home demonstrations, threats, injuries and fear." And of course these students need to realise that any personal risk they are willing to assume will also be visited upon their parents, children and nearest and dearest loved ones. The time to reconsider is now. I can't tell you how fucking angry these morons make me. They are advocating using car bombs and violence to get their way. They are terrorists, nothing more, and something should be done about them. I support animal testing for medical research 100%, and I don't really give a fuck about whether you like that or not. I also have 3 dogs and 2 cats, and they mean a lot to me. But if it was a choice between one of my pets getting tested on, or my mum, or someone I cared about going through a long painful illness, I would choose them in a heartbeat. Are you so blind that you don't recognise the cures and advancements that animal testing has given us? Insulin, vaccines for measles, mumps, rabies, rubella, smallpox, painkillers, penicillin, pacemakers, artificial hearts, hips and knees, organ, heart, liver, kidney and corneal transplants. They have all come through medical research on animals. And right now scientists are testing on animals to cure things like Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis and spinal cord injuries. Millions of people every day are helped by these, and many more millions are suffering with ailments that could one day be cured. And you're against that? Fuck you! You know, just once I would like to see these fucktards actually take a stand and say, you know what, I am so committed to my cause that I will never take any sort of medication or vaccines or undertake any sort of procedure that was gained through testing on animals. But you'll never hear that, because they are as intellectually dishonest as creationists. Their beliefs aren't as deep as their vanity, evidently. If they need any of the aforementioned breakthroughs, you can bet your last penny that their beliefs will curiously vanish while they get the treatment that they need. This is the logic that I don't get about people who are against animal testing. I assume that they don't mind animals eating other animals. I mean, from fish to birds to mammals, we all eat other animals to survive. I don't think they would be against that unless they're thinking of some sort of vegetarian utopia, in which case they're even crazier than these guys. Yet they are against medical research on animals. So they don't mind an animal dying if it could feed a lion for, say, 6 hours, but they are passionately opposed to an animal dying in which the research done on said animal could potentially save millions of people's lives. What kind of fucked up logic is that? If anyone watching this is against animal testing, then could you please explain this to me? Because that seems even worse than what you think my position is. At least with animal research, the animals are being used for a greater purpose, rather than simply filling a hungry belly. If we ate the animals we tested on, would that make you feel better? But enough about that, let's actually get onto their website and see what's what, shall we? So when you first go onto their site, at the top of the page they have a quote from someone called Walter Bond, who says, quote, "Anyone that supports, even in their personal life, the destruction of the undeserving is no longer innocent and, therefore, shall no longer have any of the rights they deny others." So already we're on the Scientology side of insane here. Anyone who disagrees with them is fair game, including their children, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So you might be thinking, who is this Walter Bond guy? Well, he is an activist with the A.L.F, for those of you who don't know, that is the Animal Liberation Front. He was arrested for the arsons of the sheepskin factory in Denver, Colorado, the Tandy Leather Factory in Salt Lake City, Utah, and the Tiburon restaurant in Sandy, Utah. I didn't even have to go onto a site exposing this guy to find this shit out. This is on the site that was set up to support him. According to a post from a site called Vegan This, He also served prison time in 1997 for arson at a meth lab. This guy is not playing with a full deck. Apparently, and this is from the same vegan website, you know, the fact that they are telling everyone this just shows how well these tactics play with even vegans. So apparently on July the 22nd, 2010, an informant arranges a meeting with him in a Ramada Inn in which he admits to the fires. I mean, come on, a hotel? Has he never seen a cop show before? That's so cliche it's ridiculous. And look at this guy as well. He's not really exactly conspicuous. Who do we think committed these crimes at the sheepskin and leather factory? Could it be Bob over there? Or could it be the guy with fucking vegan tattooed on his neck? The NIO were founded by someone named Camille Marino. There's actually very little information about this person, at least than I can find. Apparently she is so passionate about her beliefs that she has to hide behind a cover of anonymity, yet boldly puts other people's personal information up on her site without their permission. How courageous. What I could gather, though, speaks of a violent, hate-filled, irrational human being with no compassion or empathy from anyone who disagrees with her. I'm going to leave quite a few links below, mostly where I've got all my information from. One is from a blog called A Million Gods, in which it seems that the author has had a back and forth with Camille, and you will be able to see what kind of whack job she really is. She claims that she was in a motorcycle accident in 1993 in which she was a quadriplegic, in a coma for nearly a month, and didn't walk for a year. I don't want to copy what the author says. You really should read it for yourself. It's really a riveting read. But suffice it to say that if she were a quadriplegic, then whoever cured her so that she could walk around threatening doctors would be world famous by now, and would have made one of the biggest medical breakthroughs in history. Somehow, I don't think this is the case. Oh, and Camille, I bet you used a lot of painkillers, didn't you? I bet you know where those came from. Will you make a statement where you vow never to use any medical breakthroughs gotten by animals? I'll be waiting, and I have a feeling I'll be waiting for a long time. In the same letter she says, quote, "And by the way, if I were ever to meet a quadriplegic who would rather volunteer an innocent animal to suffer than volunteer themselves, I would personally throw them out of their wheelchair, kick their arrogant specious ass into the gutter, and film them as they lay there helpless in the sewers like the waste of humanity that they are. Then I would upload the video to NIO and eat carrot sticks with hummus as I enjoyed watching them die a slow and torturous death, over and over and over again." I don't really know what to say to that. And this is not just some rogue member. This is the founder of the group spouting this vile, hate-filled garbage. Also, as you can see from the article I'm linking to entitled "Animal Rights Thugs, Researchers' Children Are Not Off Limits," they are not above spying on scientists' houses and harassing their children at their school. Now what the fuck is that going to achieve? You may disagree with what their father has to do, but these children have no control about what their father does for a living. And you think bullying and intimidation that these kids may face really gets your point across? Well, that is what they're going for. The NIL don't give a fuck about changing minds. They are done with talking. As they say on their website, quote, "The time for civil discourse has expired. Now it's time for bullying and intimidation tactics, constantly targeting scientists who are trying to advance our collective knowledge about diseases and hound them until they quit or die. And I don't really think they give a shit which." The NIO posted an article on November 9th, 2009 from the Star Tribune about how a guy called Richard Bianco, who is an animal researcher at the University of Minnesota, has raised security around him because of these fucktards who post his full information, including his phone number and his full address. The best bit is at the end though, where they put this lovely disclaimer, quote, "The information on this site is for educational and entertainment purposes only. There is no intent, express or implied, to promote illegal activities. We assume no liability for the potential actions of any third party. All data compiled here has been gathered from and is available through independent public sources." Are you high or just that fucking dumb? You have a quote from Walter Bond at the top of your manifesto page which says, quote, "You believe in violence. Well, we do too. Yours is against animals, ours is against you." And on the right hand side of your site, where you have a bunch of links titled Activism Tools, you have one that will tell you how to hack into gated communities, and one that will sell you cheap tear gas grenades. What do you think people are going to do with them? Start a rave? You refer to animal researchers as murderers, freaks, and death camp commandants. You post pictures of people and their houses, people who you know inspire intense hatred in your little community, and given the loons on your site, I wouldn't put it past them to take the law into their own hands. Hell, you support arsonists, so if that's the kind of company you keep, it's only a matter of time, really. You refer to being in a war, and you think that little disclaimer is going to help? Sorry, Sunshine, we're not all as stupid as you. You're promoting violence and illegal activities against people, and I'm not going to let you get away with it. For fuck's sake, your manifesto was titled Manifesto for Radical Liberationism, Total Liberation by Any Means Necessary. Any means necessary. You're not exactly talking about having a coffee with them, are you? What you're doing is akin to waving a big steak in front of a hungry dog, letting him off his lead and acting surprised afterwards when he eats it. So who we have here are a bunch of amoral, cowardly, violent, bullying criminals who support other criminals who think that because they love animals, that gives them the right to break the law and splash people's personal information all over their sites. I'm not scared of you, Camille. Unlike you, I actually show my face when I talk about the things I believe. I've made videos about racist groups, Muslims, Christians, so your little group of tiny terrorists don't even break a fucking sweat on my brow. Come at me, I'll only come back stronger than before. I can make another account just like that, and each time it happens, I'll post this video again. You're never going to get rid of it. You know, it's ironic. You say on the page in which you've copied the article about Richard Bianco that it is not animal rights activists that vivisectors fear, it is exposure. Well, right back at you, sister. I'm doing the same to you. I'm shining the light on you and watching you shrivel up. Exposing morally bankrupt cretins is a bright spot in my day. No pun intended, of course. The more people see your little group for what they really are, the more you will become the enemy. You are the enemy of freedom, the enemy of acceptance. For you, the ends justify the means, and I'm happy to tell you that you are wrong. Keep doing what you're doing. You're only creating more people who are going to be passionately opposed to you, like me and, I'm guessing, the vast majority of people who are going to watch this video. It won't be long until there will be a whole army of detractors who aim their wrath and anger directly at you, disgusted at the tactics that you advocate. Then your pathetic little group will hopefully vanish. The groups on your side that still believe in rational discourse distance themselves from you. All you have is other fringe terrorist groups like the A.L.F. Animal testing will continue, regardless of what you do, until scientists can find a better and more scientifically advanced way of treating and curing diseases. Get over it. And as long as you are harassing scientists and their families, you will have me to deal with, and you're going to have to deal with that as well. Cheerio, everyone.